Global Reset. Nesara's Provisions, History. Illuminati. Panama Papers. The Tithe. Centralized Governance. Resistance to Change. Flat Earth. New Earth with loving greetings from all souls at the station. This is Matthew. We begin by addressing the issue that most of your expressed concerns pertain to: Global Reset. What is its purpose, who is behind it, and how will it affect your bank accounts and investments? While we have not used the more recently coined term, Global Reset, several years ago we started talking about what it is: the changeover from your current monetary system, which has no foundation whatsoever, to a system based on precious metals. The transition process will be handled as smoothly as possible to minimize disruption in financial services, and anyone whose money has been honestly earned and invested need have no concerns. Whoever sets the rules for the world's banking and lending institutions and interest rates controls the economy. After individuals in Bavaria who felt superior to the masses designated themselves the Illuminati and subsequently expanded their influence in all directions, that secret society has applied their rules worldwide. They did so with ease, as long before they came on the scene, the stage had been set by a few rich and powerful families whose greed, ingenuity and ruthlessness gave them economic control. Global Reset is a significant step toward ending that centuries-long control. Although the term is not used, its purpose to stabilize the global economy by putting all currencies on the gold standard is one of several provisions in Nesara, the acronym for National Economic Security and Reformation Act that was written by some of Earth's Golden Age master planners in collaboration with evolved residents of Earth. Even today relatively few people are aware of this United States legislation signed by President Bill Clinton in 2000 because those who knew about it were bound by a gag order that he and other Illuminati members of the government imposed. After the act became publicized to some extent via dissemination of information transmitted by off-planet sources to their receivers, the government set up a disinformation website. National Economic Stabilization later changed to Security and Recovery Act, and incorrect information about Nesara was circulated to mislead people who had heard about it. Never has it been an investment program, nor does it include the delivery of prosperity packages, depositing millions of dollars in bank accounts or canceling legitimate debts. The authentic Nesara was to be announced worldwide and go into effect September 12, 2001. To prevent that world-changing event, President George W. Bush and his Illuminati colleagues ordered the infamous betrayal of their country, commonly known as 9/11. That also let them move forward on their pre-planned invasion of Iraq under the War on Terror banner. It would be natural to wonder why a program that has monumental global ramifications began with legislation in the United States. First, Nesara's provisions had to be framed within your laws. Otherwise, it would be a matter of souls from other civilizations imposing their ideas upon the people of Earth, and universal laws prohibit that kind of interference even when it is in the people's best interests. Second, it was imperative that the profound changes the Act contains be implemented first in the United States because it was the most Illuminati-ridden and the most powerful nation in your world. Although the latter status now shares the spotlight, the government's actions still heavily influence what happens in many other countries. And it was necessary to act on Nesara's provision that changes the United States corporate status that had been surreptitiously set up by the Illuminati to a republic, as was intended by the colonists who waged the war for independence. The Act's primary economic thrust is something that could not be spelled out in any legislation: legally obtaining the vast wealth that has been illegally and immorally amassed by the Illuminati and using those funds to eliminate impoverishment, which, by and large, is of their creating. Let us cite an example that you may remember from previous messages. The earthquake that devastated Haiti was caused by the Illuminati's weather-controlled technology. After the quaking subsided, former U.S. Presidents Bush and Clinton went there to divert into their own pockets the monies donated for aid and reconstruction. As for the people of Haiti, these 6 years later they still are living in unsanitary, substandard conditions just as before the earthquake hit, and many residences are makeshift hovels amidst the rubble of destroyed communities. The unconscionable disparity between the haves and the have-nots in your world caused an imbalance in Earth's energy field that must be remedied, and other Nesara provisions also are designed to do that. They cancel debts incurred through IMF loans and usurious interest rates. Topple the privately owned Federal Reserve System, whose tentacles span the globe, and its collection agency, the IRS, and end the currency trading that has enabled the Illuminati to reap fortunes, and that is where Global Reset fits in. Recently a reader wrote, "I remember last year, or the year before, Matthew said we wouldn't get the global money exchange till 2017. That is a considerable misinterpretation of what we said. That said, we happily tell you that the decade of delay in your society's advancement will end in your year 2017, a most propitious time frame indeed, with a celestial window similar to the one during the December 2012 solstice that eased Earth into fourth density." September 23, 2014. After that message went out, numerous readers had questions about that statement, and we want to mention one. Do you mean that no important developments can happen until the end of 2017? Dear brothers and sisters, important developments have been happening ever since Earth embarked on her ascension course 80-some years ago. However, it is likely that the first development to be unmistakably obvious to your whole world will be global reset. This complex process requires the cooperation of a large number of national leaders, and, with ever-rising vibrations, their agreement to proceed could come this year. If not that soon, please don't be disappointed. An honest, secure foundation for your global economy is on the near horizon. The Panama Papers will lead to another significant economic reform. The international law firm whose records were hacked and released to the media always has acted within the laws that regulate the establishing of shell companies. Firms in the United States and other countries that also set up these kinds of companies for their clients are regulated as well. After providing the service, the firms no longer are involved. While it has long been known that many wealthy individuals are using shell companies to hide their money and avoid paying taxes on it, there was no evidence to prove their criminal activity. The Panamanian firm's files with names of their clients' companies gave a starting point for the ongoing investigation into the maze of illegal steps taken by the owners to cover their tracks, discoveries that will result in striking down the laws that permit the formation of shells. This year I've been receiving a lot of messages from different people about the tithe. I would like to know what Matthew has to say about it. Giving 10% of one's income to the church was a Vatican edict that enabled popes and others high in the church hierarchy to live in opulence and parish priests to live comfortably, while poverty was the lot of many in the Catholic congregation. Other religions adopted the tithe to build grand churches to praise God. Church is not a building, it is each individual's personal relationship with God. Sharing from the heart is godliness. The tithe was devised by man with greed as its taproot. When the peoples realized that Christianity was organized by the heads of church and state to control the masses and enrich themselves, and other religions also were corrupted by the infiltration of dark minds, all dogmas will fall by the wayside and the pureness of spirituality will endure. I just heard about this movement for a new world government. Matthew assured us this would never happen. In many messages we have assured you that the Illuminati never will attain their goal of world domination. Without knowing what this reader heard, all we can say to all of you is, please do not associate a centralized governing body with one world government or new world order, two designations for the Illuminati's global domination plan that includes eliminating most of the population, the useless eaters, as attributed to Henry Kissinger. We reassure you, that plan is doomed because their global network came apart at the seams and the fragments are unraveling. Freedom burns in the heart of humankind. Yet rarely have Earth's peoples lived freely. For long ages strongmen increased their landholdings and power by brutal conquest. Troops were forced into battle. Untold numbers were killed, captured, or sold into slavery. And all except the privileged few lived at bare subsistence level. After governing systems were labeled, the Illuminati made a mockery of democracy by putting ones within their ranks as candidates, rigging elections, and bribing, blackmailing, threatening or assassinating members of governments. They declared what country must be fought to keep us safe from that kind of government or that ideology, and they started civil and international wars. Like their forebears, they thrived on war. By producing and selling weapons, ammunitions and other war machinery to both sides, they profited handsomely. By setting new national borders or simply taking over a country and subjugating its populace, they kept expanding their empire. By infiltrating governments, military forces, intelligence agencies, judicial and economic systems, religions, education, media, commerce, multinational corporations, the medical field, film industry and entertainment venues, eventually they controlled everything that impacts life in your world by relentlessly creating fear, grief, injustice and poverty, conditions that produce the energy that fuels them. They have kept your world in their clutches. That long sad chapter of your history is nearing its end. It is Gaia's desire that all peoples of Earth live freely, peaceably, cooperatively across boundaries, across seas, and all share equally in the planet's natural abundance. In keeping with her desire, the best aspects of your governing philosophies and visionary ideas will be blended into a global system led by individuals with moral and spiritual integrity and whose wise leadership will maintain peace and prosperity. Beloved family, the world you are helping to create in linear time and exists in the continuum Earth's golden age of bloom in all its glory is grandly flourishing within that benevolent governance. If light on the planet actually is continually intensifying, why is there still so much random violence? Why aren't peace talks successful in ending wars? It is lamentably so that progress in those respects is moving slowly. By and large, this is due to individuals' resistance to change what they are accustomed to, a belief, policy, tradition, procedure, habit or anything else that is familiar. Let us give an example that you may not have considered as a deterrent to raising the consciousness level and spiritual awareness of your society. Some candidates running for office in the United States are pledging adherence to the Constitution, a document compiled when owning slaves was white people's right and only men were considered capable of voting intelligently. Well before the Bill of Rights granted citizenship to former slaves and permitted women to cast ballots, there was a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment, written about 225 years ago, provided for the young country's readiness in case the British tried to regain control and arms were muskets. Yet many citizens cite this amendment as their right to have weapons designed for today's battlefields, and some believe they will need to use those weapons when they're going to declare martial law so they can take our guns away. Energy generated by those thoughts and feelings not only adds momentum to the proliferation of weapons, it is manifesting a standoff because it's conflicting with energy directed toward ending violence and achieving a world at peace. By no means is that the only resistance factor, but its deterrence to an awakened society needs to be recognized. What is greatly heartening is, as vibratory levels keep rising, increasingly people will become enlightened and eagerly welcome progressive changes. Would you please be so kind as to ask Matthew about the flat earth and the firmament as mentioned in the ancient scriptures and also, in the Bible? We say that individuals who long ago recorded their celestial observations did so without the knowledge that a solar system with one flat planet amidst the spheres defies universal laws of physics. The belief that Earth is flat gives no credence to your scientific knowledge, and it is the same with the belief that a few thousand years ago God created Earth in 6 days. We also have been asked about the new Earth, described as a pristine planet where light beings will be transported while the dark ones stay on the first Earth to continue battling and devastating the environment. Eons ago in linear time the soul Gaia chose to incarnate as a planet, which somewhere along the line came to be called Earth, and she has no intention of abandoning her body or occupying two. Your technology, which has been suppressed and misused by the Illuminati, and the advanced technology that your universal family will bring when they can safely join you, will restore Earth to her original Eden self. It is her destiny to once again be a healthy, beauteous, peaceful homeland for all of her residents. Lighted beings throughout this universe honor your steadfast service that is bringing ever nearer that wondrous era, and we are with you in loving spirit all along your journey.